Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back to our second manga chapter review. I said manga like the whitest person ever. What chapter are we up to? 1039. A colossal chapter titled The Main Attraction TCB. Titled The Main Attraction by TCB.
Not official.
Yeah, the name I reckon will change in the official release. Normally they're pretty similar. This time I reckon it will change. A fantastic chapter. Fantastic. Like,
Fantastic.
chef's kiss. Aw.
Let's recap what happened this week. We're not going to spend too much time. Hopefully, you guys have checked out the chapter. So, spoiler alert if you haven't yet. So, go read it now. Now. So, basically, there's not a lot that happens
In terms of
the whole sort of everything happening at the same time in Onigashima.
There's very much just one thing happening in this chapter.
Yep.
With two little bonus goodies, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's right. So we cut to Momo at the start, pulling Onigashima away from the flower capital using his flame clouds. He's having some of that good old personal development character arc sort of goodness. You know, he's persevering. You know, he's
I was gonna say,
what?
You can see how bloody close he is to the flower capital now.
Yeah.
It should be within sight for the flower capital, but they're all drunk as, so they're probably not seeing it. They're cheering about, which is great. And he goes, "Someone's calling for me. Someone's saying something to me."
It's your car insurance, just like we've been calling to.
Can't let you know
about your
elephant. Your elephant is parked out the front of
Yeah.
our country. The common answer is like, this is Zunisha calling out to Momo. There's like the potential for it to be something like Luffy or, you know, maybe even the death from the last chapter. But I think the safest bet is Zunisha.
Yeah.
Is like, what do you want me to do? Like,
What do you reckon Zunisha's accent sounds like?
have you seen that clip from Yu-Gi-Oh?
It sounds like Arnie.
Wait, have you seen the Yu-Gi-Oh clip? I'm gonna put it in right here.
I would love to pummel that little toothpick of a man.
But there's a mammoth in Yu-Gi-Oh in the English dub. And
Sounds like Arnie.
It's, yeah. He's, "Hasta la vista, baby."
Get to the chopper.
Okay, so we get Momo. The other only, like, person we see is
Yamato
in the chapter.
Tomato.
But the main attraction of this chapter is Law and Kid versus Big Mom. Probably the best manga fight I have seen in a while. Whew.
Great. You know, it's just the choreography. Everything feels visceral. You can feel like the movements.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can feel the impacts. You can
Scale.
hear. I can smell like the metal of like.
To taste the metal.
I can taste the metal of Eustace Kid, like as he like smashes all his debris everywhere.
Yeah, so this whole chapter is basically dedicated to the fight of Kid and Law versus Big Mom. It is the climax of the fight. It is everything they've got, and I have to say, Justin, probably this chapter has made me appreciate Big Mom. I was telling you before, I was not a massive fan of Big Mom. I always thought she was the, op shop Yonko, secondhand, not that cool.
Secondhand
Yonko.
It should have been Big Dad Whitebeard.
Oh, Big Daddy. But no, this chapter alone has made me, I did some research on her. I spent some time, thinking about it. And I was like, Big Mom's actually really cool.
Yeah, she is.
She's had some, this chapter, even though she got absolutely wrecked in the end, right?
Shout out to mums.
#mum. No. It's really great seeing the multitude of attacks, how she's giving her all. She's not giving up. I really was like, damn, I'm actually terrified of Big Mom. She is Yonko level.
Oh, she is.
Throughout the whole of Whole Cake, I was
you
never
thought that she was on the level of
I thought she was weaker than Kaido.
Oh.
But after this, I disagree.
So you reckon equal or greater?
Greater. I'm saying it now.
You heard it here first.
I am a
on
Big
South
Mom
Blue.
fan now. I like mums.
Get it on your shirt. Big Mom fan. The merch coming out soon.
Big Mom fan. No. But no, I like Big Mom a lot now. She's actually risen to a favorite character for me.
Yeah.
Not as good as Chopper, obviously, but close.
I really respect Oda's kind of insight into the fact that we're reading this week by week.
Yes.
So I had a look back, and we actually haven't seen before last chapter any sort of serious, panel space dedicated to the Kid Law versus Big Mom fight in a while. But what I realized that Oda was doing was that even though a lot of things are happening at the same time on Onigashima, he cut back to the Big Mom versus Kid and Law fight, and we see them at their lowest point.
Yep.
And I realized in this chapter that he was doing that on purpose because, he understands how, as an audience, our memory works. If you hadn't seen Kid and Law versus Big Mom in a while, you'd know that Kid and Law are the protagonists, so your brain just automatically assumes they're winning.
Yes.
But he starts them off at their lowest point, last chapter, so that there's the greatest distance. He can make use of the greatest distance, so the fight has, extends the life of the fight, that choice I realized in this chapter was perfect.
He's done it
because
really
it
well.
felt like I never left the fight.
Yes.
Even though it's been maybe a month or so since we've seen the solid Kid Law versus Big Mom.
Solid Kid and Law vs. Big Mom we have not seen a lot of.
Yeah.
But this was the first one. Even last chapter was called.
Yeah, but
we got I
not
only
realized
many.
in this chapter that before last week's, right, it'd been a while, and he set it up so you start the lowest, ended at the climax last week, and now is continuing that high.
Yeah, this is how I explain it to myself, right, is I think it's great that if you were able to break all the panels off of these, these chapters and put them respectively in chronological order of their fights, individually they make really good, fight scenes and great, interactions. You gotta consider Yamato, even just going to the basement following the Fire Oni, Kid Law versus Big Mom, even Luffy versus Kaido.
Yeah.
If you broke those up and you put them into their individual strips, they would be really fun to follow. And I think he's done it perfectly here, where we're being rewarded. We're given a little treat every week, going treat.
Yeah.
And then that little pile of treats has led, and Oda's just been like, bam.
That's
buffet.
right. Because he only hands out little snippets, but then it feels like what I appreciate is that kind of omnipresent. We're everywhere at the same time on Onigashima, and these past two chapters I feel like is really, really done that well. So I really appreciate the pacing of this fight.
Yeah.
So that's what stood out to me. One of the things.
There's great banter between Law and Kid, which is what we're looking at right now. Really funny. Like I said, I like how Law actually is the one to complain and being like, hey, listen, buddy, I'm not your opening act. And Kid's like, we are in the middle of something. I thought that was great, because Kid is normally the one that's like, hey, I'm the one.
And
I'm going to step
And
up.
I think that's kind of a recurring kind of pattern in these previous few chapters, that often in real life, when you're kind of in a fight or you are having an argument with someone, you behave most like a child.
Yes.
And it's often a lot different to how you behave normally. And usually, Law's like the cool, calm, kind of calculating type. But then in a fight, he's a little kid. He just wants to take all the credit. Yeah, he wants to take all the credit and things like that. And usually, Kid is the one just to not work with anyone. But in the end, he ends up listening to Law because he knows that he can't do it alone.
Exactly. And Kid is a South Blue representative.
That's right.
We have to...
We went to the same school as him, bro.
Yeah. Okay, before we talk about the amazing attacks of Law and Kid, I want to talk about Big Mom.
Yep.
And the highlights she had. So we get this great scene of her where she's talks about her ribs being broken and her arm is like... And she uses her own soul to turn those bones into homies to heal herself.
Maybe she was always made of homies as a homie sapien.
I wouldn't be surprised though. I wouldn't be surprised if this is not the first time she's done this. Let it heal, taken the soul back. Because that's something she can do. She can manipulate and turn it around. So we start seeing that she does that massive heal and she's like, I'm back, baby. Then we get some amazing moves. Do you want to explain the science of Mesa Saber?
Yes, so we have this new attack. Big Mom is combining her...
Hera, Prometheus, and what's the stupid sword's name? Napoleon.
Yep, into one sort of Mesa Saber. And so you might be wondering what a maser is, and it sounds a lot like laser. It essentially is the same sort of thing, except lasers kind of operate in sort of the spectrum of light that we can see, whereas masers are mostly sort of microwave frequencies. But you can't cook food with the sorts of maser frequencies she's probably emitting from that blade. But these masers actually occur naturally, so we see them on the North Pole of Jupiter, but they can also be found around like in the disks surrounding black holes or jets around black holes with 1,000 times the luminosity of our sun. So if that is a black hole jet and she's holding it, that outshines the sun. But like, that's a mad attack.
She's got the power of the sun.
That's for all the power scalers out there, but we don't want any of any toxic power scaling out in the community. But just putting that out there, it was really cool to see Oda's super accurate with his science, and dinosaurs having
flight.
I mean, there are flying dinosaurs,
not triceratops,
not helicopter.
So yeah, to translate, Big Mom, big sword, big attack. Because she's had Mazer cannon, but this is Mazer saber now.
Yeah.
And we have this beautiful dialogue between Kid and Big Mom, where Big Mom's just like, brother, I've been doing this my whole life. Like, you've got nothing. And then Kid's like, well, that's why I need to stop you. Like, there's this beautiful kind of interaction.
Yeah, it's kind of, she has a bit of a boomer moment where she's like,
yeah, she does.
Yeah, she's a bit of a boomer. She's like, I've been here since before you were born, mate. And she thinks that validates, like, that gives her rights to keep on ruling forever. But here we see that Kid and Law are kind of, being those millennials and Gen Zs, and they're like, it's our time.
Zoomer's coming
John
up.
Cena, his time is now. It's never not his time. But yeah, she has a bit of a boomer moment. She's kind of just because you know how like
she's ignorant.
Yeah, of course. Like, she's the elder sibling, and the elder sibling's like, you have to respect me because I'm the elder sibling.
she's the grandma. Don't disrespect your elders. Like,
well, there's a lot of disrespect gonna happen, mate.
Well, okay, I know we're seeing this, but I want to skip this for now, and I want to pass it. She uses a move called Mother's Homing Cannon Misery.
And that's a literary reference, in fact, isn't it?
Sure. Oh, yes, sorry. Because the kanji, TCB have said that it translates to, or it's like, it references 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother, which is basically about a boy who gets letters from his sick mother, and then one day he stops receiving them, so he goes on a journey to go find his mum and make sure she's okay, and all this stuff. Apparently it's a really nice little animation, really old. But what is fantastic about this is how I interpret it, right? Mother's misery is like what her idea, because it's from her own soul as well. Like, it's an attack. So like, it's like I assumed it's like another homie, but I think it's like directly from Big Mom's soul, because like, where else would this come from? Like, it's just this spectral woman, right? So the way I interpreted this is that this is Big Mom's kind of emotional connection to Mother Carmel, in the sense that Big Mom isn't really aware of the fact that she freaking ate her out. Oh, that's a weird. Okay, ready to. Big Mom isn't aware that she ate Mother Carmel and inherited her power, and it was like, we'll spend ages being like, Mama, where are you? Mother, where are you? And so Mother's misery is the way I interpret it, as like, this is my mum, but it's the misery of she's gone. Oof. And that's that anger, that relentless rage, and that's why that like kind of like demonic witch kind of, what's the creature I'm thinking of? Like a banshee almost looking creature. It's just them laughing and in rage. Like, that's how I interpret it, and it works well with the 3,000 Leagues tie-in, if that's the case. So that's my interpretation. I think
we're just playing some 4D chess.
And I think that's the last big attack she has until our boys come in.
With some massive new attacks.
Alright, let's start from assign. Let's start with Kid.
Alright, so
here we go.
Kid
no time.
has can assign basically a North Pole and a South Pole to kind of like crush Big Mom, right?
The two objects.
Yeah, two objects. So there's a few things that could be happening here. She could be by assigning a North Pole and a South Pole, we just got to point out, what does the current science say? So, the best physics that we have doesn't actually rule out the existence of what we call magnetic monopoles, which is what we see, well, what we assume to see with what Kid is doing, assigning both just a single North Pole and a single South Pole, right? So, unlike you can have positive charge and you have negative charge in single particles like protons and electrons, we haven't found any things in nature that are just a South Pole and just a North Pole. So if you get a bar magnet and cut it in half, it becomes two small bar magnets with a North and a South. So if this is the case that Kid is literally making a magnetic monopole, boy, do some scientists want to chat with you, Mr. Kid.
Bars!
But the more likely thing that's going to happen is that Big Mom's head has a South Pole, but somewhere else on her body there is a North Pole.
Or it's just a
pole.
It's just an error, because Oda probably doesn't know magnetic physics.
He does. He knows
everything. Which is really cool. So basically he uses this to assign her to a massive like tower pillar.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm stuck. But then when he goes to launch another attack at her, she literally does a 360, moves the whole tower.
I did a 360.
Thank you for that. It's good representation. And shows how strong she is, right?
Yeah.
So she does that, and that's when she uses Mother's Misery on Kid. Then Big Boy Law comes in, drops another freaking building on top of her with tact. And then he comes in for probably, I think, the coolest attack. It's hard with what's coming up after this, but he coats his sword in chrome again. So there's another awakening. And he says to Kid before doing this, like, hey, look, like, kill, destroy Big Mom. Like that. He's like giving her a plan, right? So he comes in, he has the sword ready to stab her, and he jumps in with Kroom on it, and assuming he's using anesthesia, which I just assume that's always a part of it now, right into the chest of Big Mom, and she's like, not this again.
And she like bashes him up with some ornament.
But that's after we see the sword pierce through the basement armory, so we see Yamato go, what the heck? Through Onigashima into the base of mainland Wano. And they're like, what the heck? And we do see, I'm going to zoom in.
It's a massive sword.
Well, no, so we see Big Mom trying to, like, hit Law off. It's kind of hard to tell because it's like a small panel. And it looks like she's using Haki as well.
Yeah.
Beating him up. And he's relentlessly saying to her, he's like, not yet, need to go a little bit further.
He'll die on that sword.
He will die.
He looks ready. He looks ready to just give it all up to take her down.
And then he uses his new move, Puncture While, or Willy. Puncture Willy. It's a massive crater he leaves through Onigashima, through like the floor where Big Mom is, through the basement. My man literally just like deleted it.
Yeah, he just deleted it.
And Big Mom makes a face I don't think I've ever seen her make, just pure pain. She takes this massive hit and she's just like on the floor, like the back of her chest is like steaming, like I don't even know if this is like pierced through her. We don't actually get a shot of that. We see the massive crater he leaves. Even Momo's like, what the heck? Yamato's like, what's going on? She tries to summon Mother's Misery again, and then, you can take this one, because I don't even know how you explain it. Big Kid comes in with
an electromagnetic cannon. But, apparently, the chapter notes say that it is missing the characters for projectiles. So, it is like a railgun, but it's not actually shooting a projectile. So what it looks like is that he's literally just lasering her. And really, I found that I kind of noted out at that moment, because it's like, well, he has the magnet fruit, right? But Oda's now kind of like, okay, well, what does the physics say? Magnetism, electricity, kind of two sides of the same coin. Light itself is actually oscillating electric and magnetic fields. And so, clearly Kid is using light, right? He's not shooting something into Big Mom, because apparently the character's missing.
Like that's what's hard to tell, is like when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, a railgun. That's
I just
sick.
noted out
Shooting a projectile, but then Justin's like, no, it doesn't say there's a projectile. And even the way the attack forms, it's a line. Like you don't see like
light
a cannon.
travels in straight lines, bro.
Well, yeah, like so with the projectile to a degree based on how much force is getting shot out. But like just the way it's drawn, it's not like a cannon where like when you shoot a cannon, it doesn't go. It's poof, like the projectile goes off. In this case, we're getting the whole ass like laser line looking thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of agree with you. Maybe it is a laser thing. And coolest named ever. The attack's called Damned Punk.
And I think the reason why is because you see that crater, maybe it's saying, you know, you're damned if you you're damned when you go to hell, or you're damned to hell. Maybe they're sending Big Mom down the crater hole.
And it ends with that beautiful chapter. I loved it. From like beginning to end, I had a smile on my face. I was just like, God, this is a great fight.
Great fight.
It's one of, you know, I think this is what makes a successful One Piece chapter, is when you finish it and you're like, another one. Like, give me more.
Give me more. Favorite panel?
These ones here, these three.
Okay.
We see Law jump up, starting to coat his crew, and then you see Kid, after getting hit with Mother's Misery, being like, I'm down, and then the I'm ready. I don't know what it is, but it's like the tag team. That's what I think. I'm like, Kid's like, they're like,
my pick for my favorite sort of series of panels has a similar sort of reasoning where there's like the sort of a tag team happening. It's these three. We have Kid, we have Law, and we have Big Mom.
Saying you brats.
And so, you know, despite Big Mom, she remains arrogant to the end.
Yes.
She's like, hit me. I'm gonna take it. I'm Big Mom.
She says that. Yeah, she
I'm
says
not gonna.
it.
I'm like, you can't do it. Like, but they're not having it. They're like, I'm gonna try my best. And despite kind of the pushback between Law and Kid, here in these panels, I felt like we have Kid finally being like, damn, like this is it. Like, you are finished. We are dethroning you. And we see Law, that smile on his face. He's
covered in blood.
He's out for the count, but he's like, he came in clutch. Like, bro came in clutch. You know, he's like, I reckon he can't even, in this panel, he can't even see Kid at this moment. He can just hear it. Yeah. And he can just be like, yes. Big Mom being like,
oh, you sons of bitches, yeah.
You finally see it where she has to realize that, like, I still think she's in denial at this stage.
I agree.
But she is no longer treating them.
She chooses to take the hit.
Yeah, she
Whether
does.
or not she could move out of the way, she says, hit me with everything you got. I am Big Mom. And they're like, oh, yeah, we know. Questions you have?
Questions I have about this chapter: is Big Mom down for the counts?
Good question. I think for Wano and this raid, yes. After it, I really hope she comes back.
Yeah, I think for Wano, I'd be happy to just end the story here.
Yep.
But I don't think, and I'd really like to see more of Big Mom's character, especially in this fight, because all this time this has been the first real fight with Big Mom where I've been like, wow, she has a lot to give, like compared to what she's shown before.
It's interesting to see where Big Mom will play. I hope we find her in Elbath, but it's hard to say, honestly. Like, I was thinking about it. I was trying to think, like, number one, does she deserve to come back with how much screen time she's had? It's like if they met Doflamingo, leave Dressrosa, and come to, like, imagine if they kept dragging him out. You'd be like, man, I'm sick of Doflamingo. So it's like, it's hard for me to, like, from an author's perspective, be like, I can't keep recycling her.
Yeah.
So that's what I struggle with the most, is, like, the logical sense is Big Mom needs to go away. Part of me is just like, I want to see more of her because I'm really enjoying her around. Her powers are awesome. We had a really good discussion about the soul fruit and how just like versatile it is. But my thought is that she's not dead. She's not out of One Piece. But I think...
And you think that we haven't even seen the peak of her powers?
Well, I honestly think her peak was when she was younger. Like, I think is when she was building her empire is when she was at her peak. Like they've shown photos of like a slimmer Big Mom. Like, maybe that was when she was at her best.
You mentioned how, like, having all the Straw Hats against Oars, but now it would be all the Straw Hats, like, with matchups against Big Mom commanders.
I was talking more in the sense that if Big Mom became a side enemy, right?
Right.
So if Big Mom, let's say we go to Elbath and there's another big villain, Blackbeard, whoever, or whatever, is at Elbath, and Big Mom's there as well, and let's say Luffy's off taking care of antagonist and Big Mom's there, then it's up, like, his Straw Hat crew's like, no, we're stopping you. Kind of similar how Law and Kid are there. But it's like that fight with Oars where it was Luffy's taking care of someone else, we're taking you down oars. And imagine like
as in all
the straw hats
except for Luffy.
Yeah, because imagine the synergy. You got your Luffy and not Luffy, Zoro and Sanji attacks, which are great.
Would be good. That would
You've
be
got
cool.
Usopp sniping. Jinbei's in the count now. We're probably gonna have like Yamato was there as well. Potentially even. Man, look, I'm fingers crossed that Kara joins as well. I'm fingers crossed, even though she's been like nowhere to be seen.
Dollar bet.
I reckon.
Dollar bet.
Carrot joins the crew. I'm saying it now, and you're saying she doesn't?
Nope, she doesn't.
All right. Other questions is what's next?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions about this chapter?
No. I don't think so.
Then it is what's coming next week?
What's coming next week? I think we're going to. Oh, that's a tough one because there's a lot of Straw Hats running around, but at the same time, I feel like next week would be the peak time to cut to Kaido versus Luffy.
Well, I thought it was going to be this week, but I thought Big Mom was out last week, and I thought this was going to be Luffy versus Kaido. But since we've kind of just been extended last week's chapter, I can still see it next week and still see like the flashbacks and all that still happening.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have.
I think it's going to be Kaido versus Luffy part 1 of 3, 4.
4, I reckon. If you intertwine a flashback into it, maybe 4.
Yeah.
But yeah, a fantastic chapter.
Fantastic.
Oh my lord.
Mwah.
Mwah. Chef's kiss. All right.
So in this last section, we're going to be shouting out some One Piece. Some of our most talented people in a One Piece community. So we're going to shout out both a theory and our favorite meme of the week.
I want to talk about a theory that was on Reddit by
Reddit?
Andy Taker 7, and he's
Andy Taker 7, respect, man.
Hey, he talks about that when Law and Kid are having their little argument.
Yeah.
He's they're like Law's
Some
like
banter.
what Law says like, oh, what comes up the bull, huh? Maybe a hippo or what? An elephant, right? And obviously the elephant being Zunisha, but I think it was in SBS, they talk about how Blackbeard's like animal is a hippo. So everyone's like, bro, imagine if Blackbeard rocks up on top of Zunisha and he's just chilling, or like alongside Zunisha.
And this banter could be foreshadowing. So Andy Taker, that's thinking some.
I like it, Andy. I like it a lot. Now I'm gonna quickly change the perspective. Are you ready? Yeah. I've seen this, but Justin hasn't. Oh, guess who didn't add voice input to OBS? So now you have silent laughter. But ready? Watch this. Ready? Watch this. Yeah, look, that was freaking hilarious, but we couldn't record our voice, so just look at us how happy we are up there. We're laughing. Oh, look, one more time. I say one more time. Here it comes. Oh, it's even funnier the second time. We love some technical difficulties. And I think I go on to be like, let me shout out this guy on Twitter. His name is, what's his name? I'll put it on the screen right here so you can follow him. It was really freaking funny. And then there's me saying, hey, follow us on Twitter. At the South Blue. Do it now. Thanks. I will never have a technical difficulty again. That's a lie. Bye-bye. Guys, look. We're doing weekly reviews. Every time there's a One Piece chapter, we'll be here reviewing it.
Hit subscribe.
Hit
like. Share it to your One Piece friends.
Give it to your grandma. Give it to your mum. We love mums. We love mums. Big mums.
And small mums. All mums. Chapter 1040. See you next time.
Woo!